Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Talk About the Pots Life, your go-to podcast for all things pots. Whether you're living with pots or supporting someone who is, this is the place for you. Welcome to episode 4, which is hard to believe that we're there. Pretty cool. This episode, we are going to talk about the Pots Life program, which is now delivered via an app, no matter your location, which is, I know we're a little biased, but it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool regardless of our bias.
It's just cool because this program, the Pots Life, has turned into something probably more than we realized when we started. We have taken what I developed in office and treat with in person in our Pittsburgh clinic, and now we've brought it to you no matter where you're located. It's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, we're super excited for it and to just share more about it today with all of you.
Right, because we know if you're anything like me, when you were first diagnosed, you're like scouring the internet, right, to find good doctors. Then I was trying to find people who understand. And then I was finally like, okay, now how do I fix this? And that's where we're hoping the Pots Life fills that gap.
And that's a great segue into our first question about what inspired you to develop a treatment program specifically for POTS.
That is a perfect segue, like you said, to this question, because as you know, when I was diagnosed, we talked about it last episode, I was sent to Cleveland and did my exercise stress test. And then I was sent home with a pamphlet of, okay, now you go and bike on your own, which I was able to do. But I also realized after that follow-up of 1 year biking that the majority don't follow through and adhere to this program because it's hard and it takes a lot of self-guidance and it's self-directed, it's difficult. I realized that there was this gap, and I also felt from the PT perspective, the PT in me was like, well, where's the strength component, right? We know that making your full body strong, we know by strengthening glutes and your lower legs and your abs, these are all key pieces, but there was no guidance on a type of protocol or program to do that. There are other programs out there that you can Google and find, and they're free resources. But I also felt like the feedback that I was getting about those resources were sometimes they're too intense, too fast, it's too high of intensity, or they're also all lacking the strength component. What I was able to do was use my PT knowledge and my own personal POTS knowledge and kind of blend it together. So now we have a program that is lower and slower than anything out there, but for good reason, because the point of what we see and what has worked in clinic and via the app platform, we are able to see what level they are at and then making adjustments based on everybody's individual lifestyle. I think some of these documents you're sent home with are very just, there's no give and take. Yeah, cookie cutter, exactly. And there's no way to make adjustments. So the app that we built allows you to, go through life and have illnesses and travel and holidays and flares. And some days you just don't get on the bike, right? But we work that into a program that really customized that fits for you.
I think that was the key word, is that yes, you can Google, yes, you can follow another program, but it's not customized for you. And that's right. What was lacking out there, is that a program that can be tailored to what's happening to you in that specific moment in time, not just like customized for you just diagnosed and you're figuring it out. But like you said, hey, I'm on vacation this week and I don't have access to a bike. How am I going to do this program?
Because being realistic with POTS treatment, it is not just like, oh, I treat for 6 months, a year, or traditional PT where it's like 6 to 8 weeks. That's not going to cut it. This is a heavier hitting in the beginning, and then as you phase out of that, like a maintenance program. But it has to be something that fits your lifestyle, or you already feel terrible. Who would continue to adhere to a program if it didn't allow for some gray area to make those adjustments?
And I know that this is one of the most asked questions you get from folks that are calling in about the app is, what are all the components that are included with the POTS Life?
Right, because we're all, I would say, a little skeptical when you hear, oh, what is this? This app's going to fix me or treat me? What does that even look like? We're all skeptical. I would be. Inside that app, we have biking exercises. So the exercise piece is structured to have 3 days a week biking and then 3 days a week strengthening. You know exactly what to do for the day. It is a 6-day-a-week program, but before anybody gets overwhelmed, right? Because you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to handle that? It is something that starts very low and slow. So the biking is probably slower than anything you imagine yourself doing. Sometimes people are like, well, I can do more. And I get
Right?
that, right? We know you can do more, but that's part of the problem with POTS, right? You can do more, but if you do more, then you feel worse and you get this ripple effect as you go. So our goal here is to stay low and slow below that adrenaline threshold. So we never tap into symptoms that make you feel worse on the bike. If we don't want to hear, oh, I was dizzy, or, oh, it increased this symptom, or, it did this. Pretty much no news is good news. That's what we're looking for. It's very low and slow biking 3 days a week. The other 3 days are strengthening exercises. These exercises are all things that are recorded by me, so you're able to watch them. You know how many sets, you know how many reps, you know exactly what we're looking for, and a video accompanies every exercise for that day, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, the video is super helpful. That really has helped patients understand like what to do if they weren't sure. In exercise, you can call the same exercise 10 different things by different people. And
even when we were recording it, I would say something and Britt was like, is that what you're, and I'd be like, no, but that's probably what people would think. So even her and I having this experience, her and I have recorded all of these exercises together. So we have really modified, and we talk about modifications, and you know exactly what we want you to do from these videos.
And that's just one piece of what you get on the POTS Life app is the exercise protocol. There's
Yes.
so much more that you're able to track and monitor. Do you want to talk a little bit more about what else you get to do with it?
Right. It's, as we've been saying, the more objective data you can kind of collect for yourself, and if you want to take it to different physicians, but if you collect it for yourself, and it helps you roadmap how you're feeling, what worked, what doesn't work. So within the app, we also have hydration tracking, electrolyte, the amount of salt you're tracking in a day, habits, healthy habits that you're doing, some items of gratitude in there, symptoms, which are big. You can log not only symptoms like after a workout, but just daily symptoms that you might experience. It syncs with a smartwatch, so there's step tracker in there. Your heart rate can track into there too. We can see it on our end, which is pretty cool. And then this is where Britt's specialty takes over, and we have a whole nutrition piece in there. So not only do we provide nutrition ideas and snacks, but there's a whole way that you can interact with her via the app too.
Yeah, what's really nice is that we've built in kind of guides and customization throughout the journey with your subscription, is that you might get some new recipes or new tips on hydration. That's a big thing for most people in general, is how do I get enough water in the day?
Right, especially if they don't if they're not big on drinking anyways, and then you get diagnosed with POTS and you're like, oh my goodness.
How am I going to do this? I hate the taste of water.
Right.
What can I do? So we've really helped customize that, where we build in a lot of tips and tricks along the way. And then there's also, which I think is a really fun feature of our app that's nice for anyone that's using it, is that you get me and you get Kelsey.
Yes. We work with you.
Yeah.
Right. We're working with you. That's the key. You message us, and it's not like you sign up for this and you never have any guidance. Right. We want to work with you through the app, because Britt, she gets messages through there and they'll ask about certain ingredients, or, there's a food diary, so people can actually take pictures on their meal, and Britt can give you guidance.
Food.
Yes. She's all about it. She's in there for guidance, and I'm in there for exercise guidance, or just any question, right? POTS, like Britt said, there's no perfect roadmap for this. So questions come up along the way, and you can use that chat feature to ask any question about POTS and kind of pick our brains on different things. We want you to use that. It's real-time answers. It's not a computer-generated response. Britt, myself, and part of the other team, we see it, I think that makes us a little different because we don't want you to feel like you're doing it alone. We want the team to work with you so you have great success.
And one of my things that I love to do is when people do post pictures, not everyone does, and you don't have to, but it's a great way to look at to see if you're missing something nutritionally that could be maybe causing some symptoms you're having that week. If you're not having enough complex carbs or you're having higher, there's all these different things that I could just visually look at and maybe just give a suggestion that maybe you didn't even think about ahead of time.
Right. I think all of us, just, from an everyday perspective, there's so much going through our minds. So even just putting it out there objectively for somebody else to take a look at, I think it's awesome. And then it gives us a real snapshot into your life. She might pick up something on the food, or, you might say something like, oh, I did this activity today, but I don't know why. It could be, it just gives us more info to help give you better guided responses.
Because I think we've said every episode so far, it's not clear cut with POTS. No. And so I think last episode you gave the example about washing a car because you felt good. If that was what you put in the app, Kelsey could be like, okay, that's what happened. That's why you feel a little tired.
That's why you feel a little off, because we wouldn't recommend washing your car. Right. So it's just different things. Or for women before a menstrual cycle, we see different symptoms. Or are you fighting an illness, or why did I have increased adrenaline dumps at night? We get that question, but then they can tell me like what their day looked like, and I can give them some guidance there. So it's really, we try to help you fill in those pieces from all aspects: nutrition, lifestyle, exercise. We really try to complete the whole puzzle.
And the app is set up monthly, right? That it's a subscription that you do each month. It's not a year-long commitment, although we know you'll stay for the year once you join us. And it's customizable. And Kelsey kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, that if you're on vacation or you have a bad week, that, there's all these different things that happen in your life. So the program is customizable to meet the diverse needs of people with various levels of POTS symptoms.
Right, because we're coming from all different walks of life, right? We start on month 1. The program is, if you stay all 12 months, by the end of month 11 and 12, you have the option, we transition you to the treadmill, which, listen, if you're just starting and overwhelmed, don't let that overwhelm you. We will not just send you on your way to the treadmill. You really work up to that. Some people, even starting on the lowest level on month 1, it's still a little too difficult. We have built out month 0s, and we continue to work till we get you to the platform where you can start to move. Everybody has to start somewhere, and we can meet you wherever you are. So it is month to month. That way, we want it to work for you as much as you want it to work for you. I don't want you to ever feel like you're trapped in something that feels slimy or gimmicky. No, we want it to work for you. So it is month to month. It is not something that is billed through insurance. This is a total out-of-pocket cost. We've had people use like HSA, or if you have the ability to use your card in different ways, we have had people do that. We have graduates, people are doing well. And like Britt said, you're going to repeat along the way, but it's okay. We are in the chat feature, so you just send a message. We have somebody traveling later this month for Thanksgiving, and she said, hey, I won't have access to the bike, so we're going to go in and build out some exercises for her and then pick up the biking when she comes back. Definitely can be customized to whatever part you are in your life.
I think that's what stands out to me, is that it is so patient driven and focused.
We're just learning and tweaking and adjusting things through the program. And I'll be honest, the feedback has been great. We have had people even local in my office who are, traveling abroad for the summer, and they've transitioned out of clinic and onto the app, and they've done great. We have users that get to the app from all different walks of life. We already talked about in the first episode that it is hard to find a POTS medical physician, right? It's even harder to find a POTS physical therapist. Right. I don't know of many outside of myself, really. So this allows you to cut that piece out and take away the travel part. 1, to find a physical therapist who understands, and 2, you can just go down to your basement or wherever your bike is, something like that. It is safe for not only just POTS, but there's a whole bulk of us that have an EDS, an Ehlers-Danlos diagnosis. Every exercise that is on there is safe for EDS, so that does not need to be a concern. We also have people that have post-exertional diagnoses. It's also safe for that. What we've done is just adjust a few exercises back, or I have somebody that, we do a week at a time. She sends a message, hey, this week went good. We can go up in a minute, or we can add a fourth exercise or something. Having that continual feedback to make it right for her. Those additional diagnoses, it's safe for that. We work with that. It's not a problem. And it just allows us to, I think, safely encompass more so they feel confident that, they're not going to start something that's going to overstress their body.
And part of the decision to get to the app was that you are just one person based out in Pittsburgh. And,
yes.
You've had people travel far to get to see you in person. Mm-hmm. And so making this program available on an app that we now have patients in California and Chicago and all over the place, that we're now able to really be more inclusive with anyone that is living with POTS to really help them gain a sense of their life back and whatever that looks like.
Yeah, and I think the goal of this was to be able to just reach out, extend past these clinic walls, right? So when Britt and I had this in mind, we just felt like there was a need and people were reaching out, but there's only so much of us to go around. So this is a way to extend that and have great success. Patients didn't feel like that they had to not only travel these far distances to MDs, but then also to try to find a physical therapist. And I get asked often in interviews, well, how do you treat differently now that you're a physical therapist with POTS? And I'm honest in saying that I know I wouldn't have treated it like I do. I know I probably, it's nobody's fault, but would have pushed patients probably a little bit too far. If you go to somebody who says, yes, we deal with POTS all the time, or yes, we know about POTS, and they put you right on a treadmill, that's too much too fast. So I might have been one of those that do that because you don't know until you know, or, you come in, you're young, you're 17, you're like, oh, well, she should be able to squat. But the problem is the blood is not pumping and moving. So then, yes, they squat in office, but then they feel worse. This takes a lot of those variables out, and the exercises grow with you to where you are in the biking. So we start totally lying down and then side lying and then prone, and it grows with you on all fours and seated and standing, and we really progress from there. But our program motto is like full body strong, so it's nothing crazy.
And I think it's such a great point that you bring that out, that maybe if you didn't have POTS, you would have approached all of this differently. Mm-hmm. And that's so true with anything in life, right? If you have personal experience with a diagnosis, you with celiac for a long time, right, you can relate to people differently than I can, because yes, I could tell them what not to eat with celiac, but I don't know what that feels like.
Right. It's true, because to talk to somebody who not only treats it, but understands it and feels it. I just hung up with a mom and daughter, and the mom said to me, well, because she always complains, of this foot pain or this awkward pain in her legs. And I said to the young girl, let me guess, it's like a flu-like achiness, but you're not sick. And she was like, yes, that's it. And it's just, I know what that feels like. So I can really communicate and guide them really in a specialized, personalized way, because I know what symptoms we're trying to avoid. Have I had every symptom? No, but for the most part, I can really relate to what's going on and where we're headed.
Yeah, it's really great that we can bring this program to so many households. And the one thing that I throw back to, maybe it was episode 2, we talked about your diagnosis story, was a support system when you first were trying to bike, and Kale's saying, get downstairs, you have to do it. And this app helps provide that support system. It's like, oh, it alerted me I didn't do my bike today or my exercise.
Yeah, so I tell people all the time, especially if I talk to parents of younger app users, we can see on our end if you're not logging in. So you will, if we see, life happens, right? We don't mean after 24 hours, but in a few days, if we don't see you in there, you can expect to see a message and say, hey, us checking in, is everything good? Or sometimes you're sick, and then we know ahead of time and we can adjust it and move it. So we are definitely, like Britt said, it sends reminders, but we are also in there sending like, hey, just checking in. And it giving encouragement along the way. You can comment after you do your exercises for the day. There's comments, or give feedback to us like, hey, this didn't work, or, oh, you know what, I have left shoulder instability, or I have pain when I do it on that side. Is there something, a modification even more than what we provide in the video? Like, I tried that one. Do you have anything else? It's a two-way street. Send us whatever you have, and we work with you through the program.
So I'm sure the question on anyone's mind that's listening is, how do I sign up for this program?
I hope that is the question at the end of this podcast, right? What you would do is, you don't look for us in the App Store. It's just how the app servicer, it's set up. Go to thepotslife.com and click the link there that says sign up now. That'll walk you through the steps to sign up, get a login, and then the little icon, the Pots Life, will appear on your smartphone. The other question we get is, what do I need to start the app, or what does that look like, right? What you need for the first week, say you downloaded it today, it is 7 days of exercises. We are very big on using body weight and things like that, but what would be helpful to start the app is having some exercise bands. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Amazon, Five Below, nothing crazy. Light hand weights, if you don't have those, or you don't know if you'll be ready for those, soup cans work. We can start with that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. We eventually use an exercise ball. So we recommend a 65 centimeter big exercise ball, and ankle weights. Outside of that, you will be pretty set for quite a while. And again, this is all provided to you once you sign up to the app. You'll know exactly what to get. But that is for the strength piece. For the biking piece, we recommend a recumbent bike. It just seems to be most comfortable. If you have an upright stationary bike, that's not a problem. We just comment and you answer a little differently in the app so we can adjust things for you. But a bike of some sort, whether you have one at home or access to one, that biking component would not start for 7 days. So you have a week of just lying down exercises. That week also allows you some time. If you decide, hey, I want to sign up right now, you can either find a bike. I say Facebook Marketplace. Those are great. We've had plenty get them from there. Or if you're planning on joining a gym. People will say, would it be better to have a bike at home? It is not a requirement, and I don't want to put that financial stress on anybody, but it is nice to have it. Instead of having to drive to a gym, you can just go to your basement. Yeah, so it's definitely a bonus, but I have people do it all different ways, so I don't want anybody to feel extra stressed on, like, I have to get one for the house.
And like you said, you're not biking right away with the program, so you have a little bit of time to figure out if you have access to a bike, or you need to find a gym that you could use. And it's not every day, right? You're going, the biking is 3 days a week.
Right. And in the beginning, it is very low and slow and minimal. It's possible even to just start at a gym and then even, figure it out or adjust. Or plenty of times family are like, oh, my grandma had a bike, or my aunt had a bike, and I didn't even know. So it allows you some time to figure out and just try some things to see what works best for you. And you'll learn this in the app. Biking is different for everybody. People say, is there a better time to bike? Some bike in the morning. They're better in the morning. Some bike at night. Some app users, I'm getting notified in the morning that they bike at 11 p.m. or midnight. Everybody has their times. Do I feel better in the morning? Do I feel better midday? I'm somebody who exercises midday. At lunchtime, I just tend to feel better. So it really works with your schedule and when you could get to the gym or have access to it. If you're monitoring heart rate, depending on if you're one that would use heart rate, do I have to have an Apple Watch? Our goal is not for you to sign up and spend all your money. That's not what I'm going for. A pulse ox works just great. We've had some that wear like the polar band. If you already have an Apple Watch, great, you use it, but it's not something that you have to go out and get. You could just get a pulse ox from your local drugstore or Walmart or something like that.
Right. Yeah. We want it to be as low barrier access to the app as possible. So you don't have to invest in a home gym or
No.
That.
No. You're overwhelmed and you have a lot to deal with the diagnosis alone. This is just supposed to complement that and make things easier on you and not cause more chaos or headache.
No more headaches. That's what I'm reading. No. We're here. Yeah.
Right.
And so that was a great summary of the Pots Life app. And like we said, we're always here for questions that you might have. But if you're not sure you're ready to go ahead onto our website, thepotslife.com, and sign up. But we're ready when you are.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. If you feel like I have more questions, there is a link via our website to schedule a one-on-one call with me. I do quite a few a week, and I think it just helps you have an even better idea if there's any lingering questions or your specific case. I'm happy to chat with you and make sure it's the right fit for you, because we think it's awesome, but I want it to fit your lifestyle and your current needs. And, we can dive a little deeper individually during those calls. But if you are ready to sign up today, we are ready to have you. And you just head to the website again, thepotslife.com. You click sign up now, and it'll start to walk you through and to download that little app, and it'll appear on your home screen, and then you'll be able to get started. So we can't wait to have you. Next episode, we are hoping to share with you some personal stories of others, really to just give you another perspective on this whole thing. So we will see you then.